Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. Recently I was sent a brand new heat gun from Resiners. I think they saw the state of my other one and took pity on me and sent me a new one. So I've got a lovely shiny new heat gun. It came with two attachments and one of them was the flat wide attachment, which I've seen people using for the wave effect in resin, and I've always failed at getting that lovely wave effect. I never did manage to get it just right. So I was dying to have a go at that, and that's what you will see me doing today. Let's see if I have some success. If that sounds interesting, stay tuned and enjoy the video. Right, for the picture I'm making today, I have a wooden canvas which I got off Amazon ages ago, and I've already primed it with some white gesso. That was ages ago too, so it was already done, and I never got around to making the picture I was going to make, so it was all ready for me. Today I want to make a kind of abstract ocean, so I'm going to spray the board grey. I actually sprayed it with some gold as well. I did grey and gold, as you can see there, and I took that outside to do it. So that's my canvas ready. So as I said, it's going to be abstract, and so I decided to have my ocean gold, but I wanted it to be a brighter gold. So here I have some size, and I'm just brushing it on all over the gold area and leaving it for about 15 minutes afterwards to dry. The size that I'm using is absolutely ancient, and so it's probably not even available anymore, but if you just Google size for gold leaf, it will come up, and you know it's easy to purchase. I'm definitely not experienced at doing this, so yeah, let's see how it goes. Right, before we go any further, let me show you the Resiners heat gun. As you can see there, it's a beautiful colour. What would you call it? A duck egg? I don't know, but it's a nice colour. It matches my airless bubble remover and my tumbler curer, so it all goes together really nicely. So there's one of the attachments. That's the flat wide one I was talking about that I'm going to use for the wave effect. And there's a curved one, which I'll show you as well to show you what that does. And so yeah, it's a really good heat gun. It's got two settings. It's got a stand so that you don't have to put the hot end flat down on the table. And here there's three little finger gloves so that you can put those on your fingers if you need to change the attachment while it's still hot, because they will protect you from the heat of the attachments. And it also comes with an instruction booklet in case there's anything you're not sure about. It's currently only compatible with US voltage, so if that doesn't include you, I do apologise. I've got mine hooked up to my converter. But yeah, if you're not on the same voltage as the US, I'm very sorry, but it won't be suitable for you at the moment. They may bring out another one, I don't know. Right, I haven't even mixed up any resin yet, but I'm already going to use the heat gun because I'm impatient and I wanted that size to dry a little bit quicker. It just needs to be tacky, and it was still a little bit too wet, so this heats it up a little bit and dries it out. So it's really good as well for acrylic painting to help speed up the drying if you're impatient like me, but it's also got other uses, and I'm going to be showing you a couple of other uses soon as well. So yeah, let's get some gold leaf onto this size. Right, my first lot of gold leaf which I tried was rubbish. I'm sure it was good once upon a time, but I think it was passed down to me, probably from my dad. So that gold leaf could even be older than me, and that's old. So yeah, it was kind of stuck to the paper. It wouldn't come off the paper, so I tried and tried and tried, and yeah, I didn't have much luck. I got bits of it off, but gave up in the end. And I ended up going through all my other bits and bobs that I have in my embellishments box, and there was some gold flakes in there, so I tried those. There was all different ones actually. There was some with a kind of colourful pattern on, so I put some of those on as well. So it's all kind of a mixture in there, which gave it a little bit of interest actually. Once it was all completely covered, I brushed all the excess gold leaf off with a big soft brush and gathered up the leftover bits all together and put them back into one of my pots, so I didn't waste them. Next it was time for the resin, but I wanted to protect the back. You could use masking tape for this, but I'm not keen on doing that. I find that the resin seeps underneath it. I quite like to use petroleum jelly. I just smear it on the back with my finger and the resin won't stick to that. Liquid latex works very well too, but I couldn't be bothered to wait for it to dry, so being impatient yet again. Right then, so I've mixed up my resin. Today I'm using fast curing resin from J Diction. The reason I chose that one is because it's nice and thick. Let's Resin has a fast cure resin as well, which is another one I would recommend. I poured on a good, thick, generous layer and then just moved it around until it was all fully covered. And I wanted the sides covered as well, so I helped it down the edges too. So I used my Resiners heat gun without any attachments on, just to pop the bubbles. You could pop the bubbles with the other attachment on that I'm putting on soon. Doesn't really matter if that's on or not, but yeah, you don't need any attachments on to pop the bubbles. And it did a good job too. It's nice and gentle. It doesn't blow the resin everywhere, which is great. So for the white, I'm using Wave Pro powder from Resin Pro and just adding that to my leftover resin and giving it a really good mix. I didn't measure it out or anything, just add it until it's a good strong opaque white. Then I used a lollipop stick just to drizzle on a thick white line at the edge of the clear resin. Now unfortunately, because of the gold background, it doesn't show up very well for the camera. You won't see very well, the lacing effect happening. But in real life, you could see it. But actually, when I'd finished the second layer, I took my camera close up and gave you a better view. So don't be disheartened when you see the next bit and you can't see too much going on. I am going to give you a close-up very soon, and it did work. It's just a shame. If I'd have used, the typical ocean colours like the dark blues and greens, you would have seen it better, but it serves me right for going for something fancy, doesn't it? Right, it's time to blow some waves. I'm just attaching the flat wide attachment and it went on really easily. And now let's see how it performs. Right, so I left the volume on for a little bit there so you could have a listen. It's not as loud as it sounded there. But anyway, not too loud at all. And like I said, you can't really see what's happening from this angle because of the lack of contrast, but you will see closer very soon. Now, the resin is very thick, but still I found that it was slow to move with the air gun. It's definitely not as powerful as the big decorators ones that I've seen people use in other videos. So you've got to take it a little bit more slowly, but it does blow it. And in a way I quite like the fact that it's not as powerful as the bigger heat guns. I don't know, you have more control, don't you, if you just have to wait a little bit. You definitely don't find it just running away with you and blowing all over the place because you've got that extra control. So yeah, I was quite happy with the fact that I had to just be, a bit more patient, let it just take its time. And yeah, I was happy with the results. There, I was just adding a bit more white. You shouldn't really do that, I have watched videos about how to get this right, and really once you've blown it once you shouldn't be tempted to put more on and go again. But yeah, I don't think I had enough pigment in the resin, but I'm going to be doing a second layer in just a few seconds. We're going to zip past the curing and go straight to the second layer, and you will see that the second time around I did add more pigment and it works a lot better. So let's go to that and have a look. So this time I decided to try filming from a different angle to see if you will be able to see any better. I'm not sure you can, because this time instead you've just got the light shining on it. I don't know. Don't you worry, I will be showing you the detail very soon. Let's go to the blowing and see how it worked this time. Okay, so from this angle you can see it a little bit, can't you? Just about. And it did work better the second time. There was more pigment in there. I think that was the main thing that was different. Let's have a proper close-up look. There now, isn't that better? You can see there's some lovely lacing in there, isn't there? If there was a dark background behind it, it would look really impressive, but yeah. At least next time I know how to get it just right. And now I've got this fabulous heat gun. It's made all the difference. So I will have another go at doing a more traditional ocean picture. I think I got a little bit tired of seeing them all over the internet, and that's why I went for the gold. But yeah, I'll try a blue one and just see how it looks. Right, I will show you the fully cured picture very shortly, but before that, let me show you the heat gun in action with some other things. First, I'm going to do some embossing. Here I have an embossing pen, which has nearly run out, but we'll try it. And I was just drawing a heart, and then I poured on some gold embossing powder, shook off the excess, and then used my heat gun to heat the embossing powder, and there we go. How pretty is that? Another thing the heat gun is great for is expanding paste. So let's have a look at this stuff. It's really cool. It's from Sizzix, this, and I'm just going to spread a little bit onto a piece of wood just to demonstrate how it works. Once the paste is on, all you need to do is heat it up with the heat gun and wait for the magic to happen. I think this stuff is so cool, and I actually think it would work well for an ocean theme to have that sea foam effect using this. I've never tried it before with resin, but yeah, I think it might work. Who knows? It's definitely worth a try, isn't it? And if you're wondering what the bendy attachment is for, here we go. I've put some shrink tubing over some wire, and I've switched it on, and here we go. And that works perfectly for doing the shrink tubing. I actually chose one that was too big for the wire that I was covering, but it was only for demonstration, just to show that that is perfect for doing that. So yeah, really good attachment. Right then, back to the picture. Now, I was really happy with the gold part, but the grey part was missing something. I know I wanted to keep it simple, but it just didn't balance properly for me. So I will be putting some gold glass glitter on there shortly to see if that makes a difference. But before that, I'm just cleaning up the back. And so because I'd put the Vaseline or petroleum jelly on the back beforehand, the drips that were touching the wood came off really easily. I did need to use a craft knife because obviously you need to cut through where the drips are connected to the resin which is on the sides of the frame. So you do still need to cut through it, but it's not stuck to the wood, which is a bonus. After that, I gave it a spray with isopropyl alcohol, and then I gave it a good wipe, and that gets rid of any leftover petroleum jelly which will be on there making it sticky, so you don't want that there. And then after doing that, I just took a sanding block and gave it a little bit of a sand because I wasn't happy with the paint that was on there. I just wanted it to look nice on the back. Right, I mentioned adding glitter, so let's get on with that. I'll be using my glass glitter shards from Laura's Art Corner in a moment, but I needed to have something to stick them to, and I decided on my Vallejo matte acrylic varnish, and I hoped that that would be enough for the glitter to stick to. It wasn't as effective as PVA glue would have been, but the thing is, PVA glue would have dried glossy, and I didn't want it glossy, I wanted it matte, and that's why I chose the matte varnish which I had. So I'm just brushing it on with a sponge brush, and then I'm going to add the glitter on top of that. So here's the glitter from Laura's Art Corner. It's called 24 karat gold glass glitter shards, and I love them. Aren't they gorgeous? That'll add a bit of sparkle and glamour to it and help to balance it out. And I'm just spooning it out of the jar in a thick layer near the edge of the water. And my plan was, once it was at the top, to tip it up, and the loose glitter would fall and give like an even distribution at the bottom, but there would be less at the bottom, and that's what I was going for. So that was the plan. Let's see if it worked. Right, let's tip it up onto some folded card so I can collect it all and put it back in the jar. Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted to happen. Lots at the top and not too much at the bottom. So next I added some to the edges as well, and then just left it to dry before brushing off any excess. So when it was dry, I used my big soft brush to brush off any loose pieces, and it didn't feel like it was very strong. It felt like there was going to be glitter falling off all the time. So what I decided to do was give it another coat of the Vallejo varnish over the top to help to keep it all secure. And once that was dry, it felt a lot better, and I think it looked really good as well. And although it may not be the very best resin ocean art in the world, it still looks good, and thank goodness for the Resiners heat gun, because now I've got the tool to get the lacing just right, and I was really happy about that. Well, we've come to the end of another video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you would like to try out the Resiners heat gun, please find the link in my video description. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to. And I will see you again next week. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.